Hello there, this is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. Check out that movie, Babygirl. Spoilers. Yeah. In case you don't want to watch it first and then watch this, but I'm going to give you a few spoilers for it. Now, Babygirl, somebody had told me about that movie back in December. I just didn't feel like paying to see it. You know, I said, shit, I wait long enough. I got so many streaming services now that I would see a movie eventually any damn way. So I watched it yesterday. I was like, that's a deep movie. There's a lot of game in that movie. Now, on the surface, it seemed like it's just a woman cheating on her husband with a guy, but it's deeper than that. Because one of the things I had read about it, and it said it was going to show something different, like she's having sex with her husband. Okay, that's what it, like, somebody wrote about it, but it's deeper than that. Because, I mean, the movie opens up with her having sex with her husband on top, getting her thing off, right? But then after they finish, she goes into another room, puts on some porn, and starts masturbating herself. It was like, oh, okay. And as soon as they did that, I was like, okay, that I know what's up now. And then she was Nicole Kidman was playing the CEO of this particular company, and woman in charge and all of that. Good stuff. Modern woman running some stuff. And then but she was walking down the street one part of it, and this dog was out of control, but this guy happened to get the dog under control. And then it turned out this guy was an intern at her company, and it hit her on a deeper level. It hit her more. It was more than just her cheating, because one thing, and a couple things. One, when a woman cheats, it ain't for the general bullshit that they say, oh, the guy's not attentive and everything. The guy, he's not showing him much emotion. That's what they say, and some guys actually believe that. It's actually more to it, because she was having sex with her husband. She was very attentive to her. Very, very attentive to her. But it would come out later, he wasn't making her have an orgasm. She wasn't having an orgasm. And it was kind of funny. I saw that because this morning, I'll be checking all my virtual traps and everything. And I saw something on Facebook. Some dude, somebody shared a clip of this dude talking about he didn't believe women were having orgasms. He didn't believe that. Another, and it on that same clip, same post, it showed a woman saying, "No, you just can't make it happen." She said her man, when he was alive, she's 66. When she was 31, he gave her 31 orgasms on her birthday. So that was one thing that he got into. See, women just don't want to. See, that's one thing. Women just don't want to have sex. They want to have an orgasm. They can have sex anytime. They can get anybody to stick them. Come on, let's just be real. Regardless of what they look like, they can get anybody to stick them. But somebody who can relax them enough, open them enough, push the buttons for them to have an orgasm. And one of the things too, she wasn't just cheating, but she got into an aspect of the sexual shadow world I don't really talk about. Because it's more than just cheating. See, some guys, when I talked about it, you get some detractors. They go, oh, he's just talking about cheating. No, it's deeper than that. She had a man. But why was she cheating? See, one of the things with it, even though this guy was supposedly 29 years younger than her and she was a boss, he was very bossy. I mean, that was like really I would say it was on the cusp of being some BDMSM stuff. He was telling her what to do. He was like, yeah, get down on the floor. get down on all fours, bossing her around, and she was responding to that. See, it was like very psychological, because one of the things with it was it showed that many women wear a mask, even if they're in a relationship, even if they're in a relationship, even if they having sex otherwise. Because, and I always got to shout out Cousin T-Talk for saying this, sex is like a handshake for women. There's many women who could have sex with multiple men in a day. They can have sex with their main man all day. All day. They can have sex with their main man. In fact, several times I talked about that time on Facebook, a woman, she asked the women, how many of y'all had sex with 2 men in a day? And I said I had to stop counting after 3 times because I kept losing count. And these women, they just weren't saying, yeah, I did. They were describing the incidents. See, understand something. When women, not just they cheating, but when they dip into the shadow world, it's not just about them cheating, but just really getting what they want. Now, I'm not surprised that they showed a powerful woman. I mean, she had a company running shit. CEO running shit. But she was, and she was used to running stuff. And you could tell, and even in her marriage, you could tell she was kind of in charge, running stuff. Really that bossy type. For those who are familiar with counterfeit personas, I would say she was probably, she was either a psychopathic type or anal type. For those who are familiar with it. If you're not familiar with it, well, that's another conversation. Don't ask me to explain. Don't ask me to explain. That means you haven't checked out a lot of my stuff. But here's the thing. She was real tight with it. You could tell, like, she even had Botox put in her cheek. She was real, her energy was real tight. What that guy did, though, he got her, not because he was some Chad. See, some guys would think, oh, well, yeah, he was tall, he was this, he was lean. No. He got her psychologically. And he picked up that she basically chose him. She chose him. Because, I mean, there was one part where they had a holiday party and his necktie came off. She actually grabbed that necktie and was sticking it in her mouth, smelling it and sticking it into her mouth. It was like, oh, okay. I wasn't shocked, but she wanted that control. But see, that control started actually with him getting that dog under control. Deep down, she wanted to submit to a man sexually. Submit to a man, and that's what it was. And what he did was just pick up on it. That's what his game was. He just picked up on psychologically what she was looking for. Wait a minute, let me just get past this. Psychologically, that's what he was picking up on. See, one thing with many women out here, I would say most women, most are wearing a mask, even when they get married. Now, a few days ago on a community post, I posted that thing from Sister Soldier's book, Love After Midnight. And it was just an excerpt from when the main character, Winter Santiago, was like giving some real game. That's why I really shared it. Some guys still didn't get it. They get mad. It was like, no. You get a lot of women, they'll get with the guy, but this not really the guy they want. In fact, I said that in one of my books, Sexual Chemistry. I said that briefly. I get deeper into some stuff there, but I said that briefly. I said maybe 2% of women out here are with the man they really want to be with. Now, one of the things real quick, before I go further, some guys see that and think, oh, it's over. Get off this page. Get off this channel. Because if you got that attitude, you don't need to be supporting me. You don't need to be reading or listening to anything I'm talking about. My whole program is getting to the top, where you a man at the top, where you a man who get that woman who wants to be with you, where you the man, even if y'all break up for whatever reason, she's still thinking about you. And this ain't the imprint. The imprint is the first 3 men that she had sex with, but she might not be, that might not, none of the 3 might not get in her heart. And all that is just the guy she'll have a natural attraction for. That's all that is. But an imprint is not a single man. Let me be clear. But a man who really gets her heart, that could be any guy. That could be guy number 20 who gets her heart, who really taps into what she's really looking for. Now, looking at Babygirl was basically looking for somebody who could take charge, who would tell her what to do. And indeed, you got a lot of women in the real world who running stuff, and they will pay somebody to boss them around. You get some women like that, they'll jump into like something like BDMSM or something, or they'll deal with a guy who's going to boss them around. I'll never forget this one woman. I ain't mentioned her before, and she was known as a ball buster. She was that woman, she jump on you for whatever reason. She didn't care, but she was married. And I said, well, hold up, how'd you get married? How did you get married? And she said because her husband will tell her to zip it, and she'll zip it. He ain't playing that. You get some women like that. See, Babygirl showed that. Babygirl, I'm gonna tell you what, check out that movie, because Babygirl showed so much game. Like, get your notepad out or phone out, however you take notes. I'm old school, so I'm thinking notepad. And it's not a bad thing to write down stuff. It's not a bad thing at all to write down stuff, but that goes into my deep thought. So I'll talk about that on my deep thought channel, writing down stuff, using your brain like that. But it was showing like a lot of little subtle things, a whole lot of little subtle things. Because even with her and her husband was more, he was a play director. He was a play director. He was more artistic, but she was more rational, logical thinking. They really, on a deeper level, they really weren't a match, even though they had been together for a long time. She was more the boss. It wasn't obvious. You could miss that, and you would think they were having sex, but she was more the boss. She was used to running stuff. But then this young guy comes up, Samuel, and he telling her to behave like a dog, to go stand in the corner. I was just like, and she was doing it too. She was doing it, and he peeped everything about her. See, that's one thing. So, I mean, you had not just her cheating, but tapping into the shadow world. See, one thing, let me talk about the shadow world real quick. The real shadow world isn't so much a woman cheating or going to some party. The shadow world is where a woman shows her real self, her shadow, so to speak. That's where she shows her real sexuality. That's where she do the stuff she say she wouldn't do. Like, you might get a woman who publicly say she won't suck a dick. Okay? And she'll get with some men and say she'll never suck their dick, and she'll never will. But in the shadow world, shoot, she'll suck that shit and swallow. She'll do whatever. She'll be tied. She'll want to be tied up. One of those things is where they show their true sexual nature. See, that's the key to understanding. And see, when I saw how she was behaving, this boss, and he didn't really do much. And also, she chose him. And he was just doing little stuff. I mean, they were at a bar one time. He sent her some milk and she drank it. She drank that milk. I was just like, oh, snap. And he was basically controlling her like a dog. He was basically controlling her like a dog. But that was the thing. But like I said, you want to check that movie out. Take some notes, however you take notes. And you can really learn something. Because that's the case with a lot of women. Like, there's a lot of women out here, they'll show one thing, but if you read them right, you can see what's up. Like, numerous times I've talked about that one woman, and I actually told her, I said to her, I saw someplace, and I said to her, I said, hey, you better watch out, you open to cheat on your husband. And then she proceeded the next hour to tell me exactly why she would cheat on, because I just read that. But if you were to see this woman, you wouldn't think she would. And see, that's one of the things. See, a lot of guys are caught up into the bait and looking handsome, and invariably some guy come on and say, well, they'll do that for Chad. When you're not Chad, you don't know what they'll do for Chad. Indeed, some guys who would otherwise be considered handsome, yeah, they'll get some attention, but they might not tap into what the woman really is. Indeed, some women will cheat on a very handsome man if he's not tapping into what she really is. You might have a woman that wants to be bossed around. You might have a woman, she don't get off unless that man takes total control. I dealt with a woman like that, real bossy, never had an orgasm. But I just took control. All of a sudden, pop, pop, pop. Pop, pop, pop. And I could tell when she was letting go. I could tell. But see, I wasn't tapping into what I was listening to what she was saying, but then I was reading her. See, that's the key. That's the key. See, when you're dealing with women, that's why I say when you're dealing with women, get past that they got nice breastises or snatch waist, a big round butt or thick thighs, which save your life. Yeah, get past all of that. Think about her psychologically. Think about what she's doing. Like in the movie, I think the character, I was so busy paying attention, I think her name was Romy. It would be that. But I was paying attention to her body language and how she carried herself, real bossy. And all this dude did was he started tapping into it. He was tapping into it from the moment he got that dog under control. Because deep down, that's what she wanted. She wanted to be let go. In fact, there was a part in there where she told her husband she had got to the point where she was trying to be what he wanted and be what everybody else wanted, but not what she wanted. See, and I've talked about that before too. Women look for that man who frees them up, who don't judge them, who let them be who they're going to be. And they do, that's how they really tap into it. See, really, the biggest game is really psychological. Yeah, it's good that you fix up and you put on, you hit the gym or you look smacks, you let the barber bless you, you get that style. That's just to get the woman's attention. But it's the psychological part that keeps her and locks her in. Indeed, that's why you get some women, I'm going to name it some women, I'm going to say many women, they will get married, they will go get married to a guy, have babies by that man. And he's generally what they like. But then there's that one man they lock in their spirit, lock in their heart. That one man, all he has to do is run into them somewhere or reach out to them, and they just gonna go get him. They'll just go. That one man who can get them anytime. Or even worse. No matter how happily married they are, how many children they have, no matter how much they think going, they run into that guy who can like really look into their soul. He can look into their soul and figure out, okay, this is what she really wants. This is who she really is. Those are scary ones. Now, I know some guys will be like, how can I learn that? I'm going to say this. If any guys want that, you can't skip over it. You first learn how to get a woman basically. No, basically. Now, and that's some bullshit, because I'm going to tell you, hold up, let me go off on a tangent. Too many guys act like they there. In fact, I know of a guy who thought he was at the highest level of getting women. It's like, no, this motherfucker is nowhere near that shit. He thought he was at a higher level. You got a bunch of guys at a higher level, but then they still getting burned. They still can't read a woman to that extent. They still ain't at that level. It takes a while to get to that level. You gotta get to a basic level, just getting a woman, period. If you ain't getting a woman, period, you ain't skipping over to be able to read a woman like that. It just is what it is. Because look at it like this. How you gonna be at that higher level, but you can't even get a date from a woman? How you gonna be at that higher level to really read what's going on with them? But it's still happening with them. Now, if you get to that point, shoot, you got some dudes out there can't even get a woman to text them back right away. That's why some stuff, I don't bother teaching. I don't teach publicly. And I've had dudes ask me every now and then, can you teach me this? And it's like, no, I don't know you. I gotta know it. There's some stuff, shit. You're not teaching it until you're ready, that you show that you can deal with it. And even then, it's something that you got to learn on your own anyway, because it's how you got to deal with women. So it's no cheat steps, it's no magic words. But I'm just gonna say, check out Babygirl. In fact, I put a link to the trailer in the description box. Really check it out. Because I was like, oh, okay. And I forget, you know what? If you're the person who told me about Babygirl back in December, shout yourself out in the comments. Because at the time, I'm gonna be real. I was like, yeah, just a typical older woman cheating with a younger guy, which was another factor too. Older women just don't care. I dealt with a lot of older women, a whole lot of them. If they want some, they want some. Their sex drive don't stop. They might have a little bit of cellulite, some gray hair. And their shit don't stop just because they reach a certain age. Just remember that. Their shit don't stop. So I want y'all to just say, like I said, check it out. I advise everybody check it out. And maybe watch it twice. The first time, just go through it. Second time, especially if you're at home, you can stop it. Every little thing. Pay attention to every little thing. I was just like, it was real well made. But it gives some insight into women. Like I said, it does. Not just women cheating. That's obvious. But women dipping into the shadow world. The shadow world is really where they just show their true selves. And it means women, it still got to go beyond sex. They still got to have an orgasm. Because even like I said, I put spoilers on this. Even at the end when she was with her husband and he was doing something that the young guy did to her, she was still thinking about the young guy. So, and shoot, that happens a lot. And like I said, you want to get to that point if you on this channel, you supporting me, you want to build to that point where you one of those men. You one of those men, okay? But you got to build towards it. Go ahead, dude. Push that kid. Anyway, let me go ahead and get some food, and I'll talk to y'all. Peace.